Hello. You're in the video, just so you know. Hello, thank you for the likes. You know how you get weird. I know you get weird when you, because it's going on YouTube and stuff. Like, you know how you're like, later you're like, oh no, why did I say that? It's cool that they did though. Hi. The live is for, you guys can like leave comments on my videos about anything, but the live is for this kind of stuff. So it's for Patreon members and also people who want to ask questions and come up here. So if you have an idea for a project, you can talk about that on, like you can do a video and then tag me, or you can go on my videos. But on here, I think of these lives as like a little market stall in a market, and the market, each stall has stuff that they want to share with others, and that's kind of how I see it. So if you want to see what I have and stuff like that, that's what I think lives should be like. That's how I want my life to be like. And when people come up and ask questions, it's very cool as well. But yeah, respect the boundaries of the life, please. Hello. Ooh. I wonder if this will stay if I put this like that. Shoot. Oh well. Hello. Have a look at this. If you're not sure about that, I can answer more questions about that, but have a look at that. Hopefully we will get some of the people who are part of Patreon, so that everyone kind of, after that, people kind of like, I'm just gonna cut my art right now while I'm waiting. Okay, someone requested, before coming up, please write down your topic so we can make sure it is something that it has to do with Alive, and then we'll go, you can come up. Unless you ask, let me see. No, you haven't asked yet, yeah. So feel free to write your topic or what you want to talk about, and then we can do that. Okay, so, but like, what do you want to know about besides the prompt? Like, you can even pick one of these things. Little man is fighting his nap so hard right now. Oh. If you guys are just here to listen, if you do use all the buttons you can on the live, it will bring other people that might want to come up, and then you have something to listen to. But for now, I'll just be cutting this until people are ready. My art. I'll show the YouTube so YouTube can see. Okay, cool. But yeah, make sure you bring your topic up or questions and stuff like that before coming up. It's been okay. I've been really enjoying the lives lately. Everybody's been really cool. How have you been? Okay, is that your question to come up, George? Hello. Can't hear you. Oh, okay.
Hello, can you hear
Hi.
me?
How are you?
I'm good. You right?
I'm okay. So you want to know more about the soul memory mapping? Yeah.
Yeah, it says you can ask about it. So,
Yeah.
what is it?
So
Yeah.
basically, what it is it's what I have been helping people with. I'm also writing a book about what I went through, and I call it self apotheosis, and also remembering what that your sovereignty. And so the first stages people go in when they're doing their memory process is knowing that they actually can choose everything they want, as in like it's like a detox. We were talking about this yesterday. It's a detox of all the things that we are told to do, and trying to make our life full of what we want to do. Even with things that we're doing that we don't want to do, we're still looking at it and actually like respecting it. So that's the first stages, because that's usually what gets in the way, in quotes, because we think we're stuck, but we're not actually stuck. And then you start to remember all the things that you have been doing as a human that is your bigger energy anyway. So that's the next stage. And then some people have already been doing that. So they're like immediately start the stages of the mapping. And the mapping is looking into things that you are excited by, that you love, everything that's in nature and in humanity, and the things you just love all the time. And you can start small, blah, 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 and you start to realize that those things are actually you remembering your truth and your true codes. And you are able to, if you would like to start at that stage when you're really getting into it, you start to build, you basically have all the, the little locations in the map, which are each memory. They're not linear, they're just all random, but they have to do with you because of what you explore. And once you do that, you also, along that path of doing that, you start to see that what connects them is your style of energy. So let's say you have this storyline or memory that you're remembering about yourself, and you're like, oh, well, this is very similar to this mythology that I read. And then you realize that the humans that told that story were tapping into your memories as well, and it helps you have the memory. And not only do you get to remember for yourself, but you get to start remembering why humans even pulled it that way. How can you can start to see how humans use that to explain stuff. So then you start to see how you can explain yourself too. So it's not just you getting information, it's you actually teaching and showing others about these pure truths that are from your infinity, your portion of infinity, and bringing them into this matrix so that other people can also remember their paths as well. So that's basically what soul memory mapping is. And we talk all about it on the live, but I also have lots of little like workbooks to help with that, where you start exploring and having fun. And yeah, so if you have any questions, I also like to do reframing spirituality. That's one of my specialties, is helping people reframe things and see what it means for them, because a lot of spirituality is people telling them what things are, and I'm all about showing people that what does it mean. Okay, we know the definition or we read a book, but what does it mean for us, right? And that's what I'm
Okay.
introducing to everybody.
Interesting. Yeah, that's super cool.
And it helps also if you're into like making stuff, and you're like researching or all those things. This kind of helps enhance those things as well. So A lot of people who come to me are like they are researchers or historians or even like therapists, philosophers, writers, artists, because sometimes we feel like we're like, oh wait, like we could be going deeper with this, or where does what I do come from, and things like that, and music as well. So anyway, yeah.
Cool. So is it like you say it's beneficial for any area?
Yeah.
Um, everybody can use this.
Yeah, it's
Um,
basically self-expression, authentically, instead of it just the human stuff that we already see. So everything we have access to, that would just be normal tools that we all have access to, right? We have the internet, so you can go on YouTube and learn all these other tools. But this is like what comes from you. So your actual stuff, like your truth, is like infinite and magical, and you get to like pull from that and bring it into the things that you do know how to do as a human, or another thing that you learn as a human that everyone could teach. Like, for example, I'm really into learning 3D modeling, and it's really funny because as I'm learning it, obviously it's going to be so fun when I start to like do the things I want to do, but as I'm learning it, I'm remembering a lot of, and remember, memories are not past, memories are all parallel. It's your information, your truth. And I remember a lot of making the codes and stuff like that in a bigger version of me. So it's really cute when you do stuff like that. That's human. You can say, "Oh, this is kind of like that." You start to remember things as well.
so you're not like like tracing memories and altering them. You're saying that's like information you know in the present.
So
Is
I
that
don't see memory. I'm like what my energy, like how people like say like the gods they're connected to and who they are and stuff. Mine is all about memory and infinity and potential. And so I'm like a direct line to that. So I obviously, like every human, has a lot of different connections to make you who you are as a human. And it changes all the time. But the main big source of me, basically, my infinity little pattern, is all about that kind of stuff. And so, from what I've learned and remembered, is that everything is parallel, there's no past. And it's all happening all the time. And it's not just like a concept, it's actually happening all the time. And so, when we think that
there's no
something's
past?
done and past or dead or whatever, that is doing a disservice to ourselves, because these parts are actually just as important and valid to integrate as they are right now. And so it's your job as a human being to stay in the now, but to bring those things in the now and integrate them. You don't have to, but it makes life really enriching, because you, instead of having all these shadows that you're embarrassed of, the shadows become your friends and your assets, and they can actually inform you in deeper things, like where did they even come from in the first place, not just the storyline of where they started as a human, like when you got introduced as a human, but where does that energy, like where was it pulled from. And so they have a lot more to say, because they become protectors and things like that. So they can say, oh, before we got triggered and spent a lot of time on these things, let's not do that. Like, let's actually go through why it's still painful. And that's kind of like, that tells you even something like that, that's not super fun and great, that even is special. So it's like, even at your saddest or angriest, you still can find like your glory and beauty and fun stuff, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, it's like kind of a therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 it's true therapy, because therapy is for
yeah.
society, which is still important because we're living in society. It's what humans have created. But this is like your truth, like therapy. You're like actually like finding that things are actually you. So you're like, so therapy is still important, but it's for society instead. So it's understanding your place in human like structures that humans have made up and created. But like this is helping you find like who you truly are, so that you can integrate that into society and help society be a more special place and more authentic.
I find it interesting that you kind of say like negative memories, like
Ne-
traumas, or even just bad decisions of being angry or whatever, can be used in a positive spin.
yeah, and I wouldn't even say positive and negative, because I feel like that's limiting to them. I feel like they are they're things that we're ashamed of usually, or they're like when we say that things are evil or negative or bad, They're actually just things we're ashamed of, or they are so painful that they're probably not the time to be met yet. But it doesn't mean that they're never like a time to be met. You know what I mean? But usually when you're triggered and you are like prepared to not just sit with it in your body and you can go further, that means that you are prepared to meet them and discuss things with that version of yourself and integrate them, and they become an asset rather than an embarrassment in the closet kind of thing. And a lot of heaviness and weight kind of lifts a bit. And it's nice.
Oh, that's interesting. No, no, because yeah, I mean, I definitely can think of embarrassing moments or
Yeah.
decisions or experiences I've had,
Yeah.
which I can't fully, you know, wrap my head around or engage with.
Yeah.
And I know in the past I've just blocked them off, but
Yeah.
yeah, as time's gone on, I've gone on, been able to, you know, bring to light with certain people and
Exactly.
use these things as tools to help other people as well. So
Exactly.
it is
And
interesting.
the other thing is that we also think that it's something like, a lot of the words, like we say shadow work and energy work, it's actually not work. It's just remembering. And like the first stages are not just remembering, it's like actually just acknowledging that its existence and feeling where they are in your body and that kind of stuff. And then it grows into that. So when people make them work and you need to do shadow work, it looks like you have lots of problems. That is like a very, I call it the way I say distortion means that it's stunting growth. And so to me that is a distortion in the field of humanity, where we say we have to do things and you never have. And the thing is all this stuff that I am introducing to everybody, they're already doing it. And it's just that we're not conscious of when we're doing it. And so when we're doing this, it's still a remembering process, because like the other day, and like a lot of the time when people ask me when this started for me, it's very hard to know now because of how much I've worked on and looked at, not worked on, but like explored. Because now when I look back at things, I can't see when it started. I've always been doing it, because now I recognize all those parts of my life that I've lived, that all why those things happened. I can see why, and there's a lot of peace in that. The more you go deeper, you start to see that you already have been doing these things. But if we don't understand our energy style and we don't know any of our memories, of course we're not going to recognize when we're doing these really cool things like all the time. Like there's a lot of like horrible things that have happened, and now I look back on that version of myself and I'm like, wow, I actually like I was doing this and this was happening around here, but I didn't see that when I was in that situation, because I couldn't see, I couldn't see all the things going on and at play.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's super cool.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have any questions more about this, or even if you have questions about like reframing spirituality kind of things, like terms that you've heard and you're just like I don't know about this, or that kind of stuff, I can talk about that stuff and reframe it.
Yeah, well, I mean, what is reframing spirituality? So is there something wrong with
so,
spirituality at the moment?
so all of the terms in spirituality, so this is why I like made it a thing, is because everything in spirituality is at the moment a choosing thing, where people go, okay, so are you clairvoyant, like clairsentient, are you a psychic, all that stuff. And every single thing that they've ever listed, like manifesting, all that stuff, we're doing it all the time. And in those terms they make it sound like, okay, we're doing it all the time but in another version of us or realm. No, we're literally doing it but we don't see it. And so it's a different experience for when you see that you do these things and when you don't. It doesn't mean that you're not doing it, just it's a different experience. So when you start to experience how your style of clairsentience, your style of something that no one has named yet, or your style of your third eye stuff, like when you find out those things, you start to be able to participate and explore. Whereas a lot of spirituality doesn't help you explore or participate, it just tells you what to do. A lot of societies like this right now. And this is one of the things my energy is here to work with. Not just me, my bigger energy is doing things that like human me couldn't, obviously. But that's kind of one of the things that my whole energy is specialized in, is like showing that it's not like here's some information and you have to do it this way, because that is how you work with human finite systems, which is there's nothing wrong with, but that's the toolkit and tool set for those things. But when it comes to infinity and finding your truth, which is infinity, and your infinity and also the full infinity, when you find those things and you're like exploring those things, all of that finite thinking needs to go out the window, because it is going to not let you explore that. And so that's why I do this, is because, like, for example, if someone's talking about yeah, like I said, like a psychic person or a medium and all those like terms, or a star seed and those things, I not only know why the humans talk about it that way, but I also know like what they're like onto, like, you know, what they're kind of close to and why they even are talking
Mm.
about it. So that's why I like doing that, because everything I do is my intention is to empower and help people with their like regain their sovereignty that they already have. Oh, Isabella.
Sure.
Isabella, do you want to come up too? That's so nice. For everybody on
That's
YouTube,
interesting.
Isabella says,
So
I
do
couldn't
you
afford your help. I am thankful for you. You can come up here.
so do you work with, or you don't like the word work? Do you um help people with different? I don't want to say like spiritual gifts, or what did you say? Different styles of something.
I help them with what they want. So if someone is like, I am at the moment really interested in finding out my like my soul origins or something like that, I'd be like, okay, let's start this and do this. If someone's like, I feel stuck and I feel like there are demons trying to get me, I'm like, okay, we're gonna do that. And all of it, the intention for me is to get them back to being able to do it themselves. So my Patreon followers, like basically they can come on and say anything. Actually, I was gonna, as Isabella, if you're interested in that, you can also sign up for that. I think it's like £10. I think it's still £10. It might be, and I think that translates to $12. I think you're in the U.S., right? But anyway, all of the they have I have tons of content on there, like big, like long term stuff, like long things. But anyway, when people come up here, we do the toolkit readings, and so someone's like, "Oh, I had this dream, and I've always wondered about my dreams." Blah 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 blah. And so what I'll do is I will take them through the dream and show them how to revisit the dream and what that means with the POVs in a dream and things like that. And then I show them the tools of how to depending on what the person asked and what they need and what their energies are kind of saying and stuff, I help them with those things. So it's kind of like a tailored thing to everyone, but the thing that everyone that comes to me has in common is that they're trying to remember something, whether it's to remember how to be a human that is magical, or if it's to remember their bigger energy, or if it's to, you know, all those things. So that's basically what it is. So that they feel
Well,
confident in doing it themselves.
damn, that's pretty intense.
And then I also make art that is from my memories as well. So I'm like, this is like I was cutting this while I was waiting for everybody. I have my own little technique that I'm working on. It's gigantic. It's like 3 meters.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You just say you are a 3D artist, so was it? So,
Not, I'm trying to be, but I will be. I will
oh,
be.
okay.
When I have lots of plans, but I always get it carried away, and then it takes the joy out of it. And that's something I'm healing, because I have a background in the arts and fashion and things like that, and it's really it's really toxic to keep having goals in those fields and having to do that. It's really like not good. And so
Oh, wow.
I've been working really hard for the past 4 years on making it just about doing it. So what I did is I made this gigantic project, and so I have some things on the computer to work on. I have some things to cut out, And then I have some things to use the clay. I'm making this like, it's basically like clay modeling. So like they're a little bit, um, it's like, you know, like in the Greek things that are like just a bit raised, kind of. It's like that. And they have like little earrings that are like coming out kind of and like movable. And then I'm gonna paint it once it's
Oh,
all
nice.
like modeled. So having all those stages and the day when I feel like painting or I feel like doing that, that has been healing me a lot, but I'm still not quite there yet because now I'm doing 3D and I'm like, I need it to be finished and I need to make a video game. Like, no. But
Fantastic for you.
so I'm like, I just have to
You,
enjoy
you,
like the
you just
process of
jump in the
learning
gun a
right
bit.
now. Huh?
You jump in the gun a bit
Yeah,
and just go
always,
straight
always.
from like
Because
doing
I have
sculpting
visions
to
of it.
video
So
games.
I'm like, I can do that. And I'm like, no, I can't. I only have done like three tutorials. So yeah, like definitely not. Definitely not a 3D artist, but I am studying
You'll
to
get
be a
there though.
3D
You got to
artist.
keep the strong mindset.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. And
So
I also have
with
these
the
workbooks as well that I drew these little characters on the workbooks.
with the toolkit reading,
Yeah.
you said you interpret dreams, or you
Anything, like
explain
I
to
said,
people how they can.
anything that has to do with infinity and stuff like that. So when someone comes up, because you have to be a Patreon member, I kind of like, I feel like everyone who decides to be a Patreon member, they end up being kind of like, when they come on, what they come up with to talk about, it ends up applying to everybody. And so it's really cool. But yeah, that's what usually happens. I think I think I saw two in here, but I think they're just listening for now. But yeah, so that there's that, and then I also have there's a recent reading I did that also is for like the third tier that you get if you want every month. You can just say, oh, I want this reading, but I have them individually, and they're in my link in bio. I have different types like to help out with ideas of what you would want. But yeah, like it doesn't like if everything is about like you exploring and being able to feel supported in that exploring and kind of having like silver platter, I call it the silver platters or stepping stones, so that you can keep exploring instead of someone saying this is how it is. You know.
Yeah.
So
Have you got an example, or are you not allowed to share
yeah,
with
I
people?
mean, what kind of example? I can share examples.
If, so- if, s- if someone who's had like a certain memory or a certain dream that they're not able to understand why, or
um
that they're receiving this, or why they're so fixated on it and they can't, you know,
Well, I
um,
have on I put lately I've been putting them on the lives on YouTube, so you can go to my YouTube to watch those. They're very long, and you can just like watch it. But I can give you an example of one of the tools. So basically, we did a live together where it wasn't. I sometimes we just do random fun lives as well, just because it feels like it's the right thing to do at that time. And we have done remote viewing ones. And so everyone gets to not only be taken through the process of a remote viewing kind of situation, they don't get the individual remote viewing like the one that I would do in a session or in one of the readings, because it's going to be case by case, right? So we do it based on like what I've gone through. So I tell people that we're missing some steps, but basically, I take people, everyone in the live chooses where they would like to visit, and I usually I did this in the British Museum as well. I specialize in like ancient ones as well because it really teaches people that we're literally pulling everything into this matrix and it actually doesn't take place here. It will if you the more you pull it and we remember and blah blah blah. And it's very weird, but it makes sense when people actually go through it. They're like, oh, okay, cool. So you start to realize that
yeah,
when you read
I'm not
books,
understanding fully, but I think
it's okay. I'll tell
someone
you in a
who
second. But
actually,
so when we read
yeah,
books, when this is a good tool so that we can do this when we're doing stuff. So when we read books that are like history books, when we see art that's historical, when we are wondering like about something that people are talking about. Let's say someone are talking about the Anunnaki, or they're talking about Mesopotamia and what's going on there, where there are actual gods there, blah blah blah, ancient Greece, that kind of stuff, you can go yourself.
yeah,
And so this also helps people connect with their parallel lives on like I guess it would be the Earth universe, not the Matrix. And so then you can like connect with all these different things because some of them are in the Matrix and some are in like there's just all kinds of things going on, right? And so you get to be able to explore that, and people don't know that they can just do that. They think they need permission or a special blah blah blah. And so I show them tips that are not like strict. They're just so that you can kind of go, oh, actually, I'm doing this, and that's what happens on the live. People start sharing their experiences, and some people are having different things. Like there was one person on the live that was having lots of imagery, and it had nothing to do with what we were doing. And so I said, that's cool, just keep like sharing, and do that, don't just do what we're doing. And so that's kind of what happens as well. Like he was like learning more about himself. So he saw I saw there was like these golden shoes that I was wearing, and he could see how they were made and all these really cool things. And so that shows a lot about what his energy's like and kind of like mine. So mine's like focus on like, looking at those details and things like that, and he's like learning about how it's made like energetically and stuff. So that's kind of like what happens is it opens it up so that people can kind of play. And then I take them through the process. We get there, and then we ask questions. So I'm like, okay, so I see this going on. Where would you like to go? Would you like to go to this, or this? Or they would just, people are like, oh, I want to go to a temple here. And so we go there, and I said, who should we ask? I see like blah, blah, blah. And so we just take each other through it so people can get a taste that they can do this by themselves. So that is an example of like what we would do, like even if someone came on, that would be like, let's say someone's like, oh, I'm always curious, I don't understand why people talk about star seeds. I think that I've seen alien things, or I've seen blah blah blah. And so then I would bring them, like we would do like a remote viewing so that they can see it themselves instead of me going, you are this and this is how that kind of stuff. So that's an example of what would happen. So it's based always on what people ask. And so, yeah. Does that make sense?
Kind of. Yeah, it's interesting.
And like I said, there are like I've been putting all the lives on lately. I've been putting YouTube so that it just like records it. So like and before it was TikTok ones, and it was really crazy because like some of them were like 4 hours the lives, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I've been limiting it. So I've been keeping an eye out on the time because otherwise, because I get so excited and carried away. I learned
Awesome.
that I wanted to know how instead of the why. I've started applying that to my daily life. Good job. I'm very proud of you. That is music to my ears. Yay.
Well, I had to realize that while everybody's enjoying the journey, my mind wants to know not why is the journey, but how did the journey occur?
Yeah.
So when we were trying to do the guided, I'm like, I'm happy for you all that you're able to do this, but my brain just does not work this way. I want to know how. What were the things that happened
Exactly.
to cause this? Not why did it happen, but how did it happen?
Exactly.
Okay.
And by the way, George, this is the person that was seeing the visuals of how things were made instead of what we were doing.
Golden shoes.
Yeah. And there was a boat as well, and yeah.
There you go.
Oh, Camille saw that you changed your handle. Camille, do you want to come up as well?
Yep, changed it to my middle name.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Trent, you tricked me. I didn't know. I didn't think you were in the live until I heard your voice.
So, yeah, I found out beyond them tracking the phone and the computer, they are also paying somebody to try and get into my TikTok account.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
ew.
So I got contacted by the support, and they're like, somebody is trying to access your account. Is this you? And I'm like, no.
Fair.
No, it's not. And then it got all weird and locked out.
Fair.
Oh.
Okay. Well, listen, if that's what you had to do, I
Exactly.
totally get it. But I'm glad that I found your new account. That's good.
Yeah, we'll just get used to this little green one.
So it's like, how did they find the last one to begin with? Oh well.
I mean, it happens. I think it also there. I still think that TikTok, when it says like the contact things, I think that they don't care. Like they pretend like you have a choice. I think they do it anyway. It's like, when it
Oh,
says, "Do you want to share your contacts with blah blah blah?" and you say no, I think it does it anyway because it's connected to your phone number. You
well,
know?
only a few people have this phone number, so hopefully we'll be better off.
Yeah. There you go. But yeah. All right.
Sorry
Who's
to
gonna
interrupt.
ask the next question?
Well, I kind of jumped in at the last part. What was the like theme of the last question, so we know what's already been discussed
I
today?
think we kind of flowed a bit, George and I. So I'm not sure.
Okay.
You were talking about readings.
Oh yeah, I was talking about the toolkit, like readings, and how like what an example of them. Camille, if you want, you can share some if you want.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been the booklet you have on building a bridge
Yeah, this one.
to energies, and I've been doing that. I still haven't gotten the other one yet because I've still been kind of playing around with the
Yeah, take your
building
time.
bridges, and it's honestly it's been so much fun. Like I feel like I've been able to expand on stuff that like I've kind of already been doing a little bit, but kind of doing it in a different way. And but it's funny. The other workbook. The reason I want to get the other workbook because in our one-on-one we talked about automatic writing
Yeah,
and your way of going about that. And I'm like really, really keen to like kind of like try approaching channeling in a different way.
yeah,
'Cause, you know what? Here's an interesting thing. That I've been having like more like precognitive dreams lately. So the other day I had this dream that like someone or me, and it was very, very vivid, got like was driving and got sideswiped by a school bus, right? And
mm-hmm.
the whole day after I woke up, I'm like, oh my god, am I gonna get into an accident? Like I was so because it felt so visceral in the dream.
Yeah,
And then later that day, my husband's like, you're not gonna believe what happened. My parents were in the city picking up our nephew, and a bus came and sideswiped the car, and I was like, that was my dream. I told him, I'm like, I've been thinking about this all day. Like, I'm like, when is this gonna happen? And I was like, that's exactly what I saw. Like
yeah,
when he described it to me, it was exactly what I saw. And then earlier today, I start thinking about this person that I hadn't seen in years. And my husband's like, guess who I ran into when I went to the store today? So I keep having like these situations
yeah,
that not that this hasn't happened to me before because it has,
yeah,
but it's like happening a lot more.
yeah.
And
So
I'm trying to like
that's the, when people
yeah,
see repeating numbers, this is the dream version of that.
yeah,
So it is showing
yeah,
you the how your, like, there's no difference between sleep and now. The difference is that
yeah,
your perspective is different. But you're still, it's
right,
like, because we
right,
think when we go to sleep, we're very like human orientated, where we're like, okay, I'm gonna go somewhere now. But it's not that. It's that
right,
it's what's going on all the time. And so in those beginning stages of, I wouldn't even say beginning, but it's when you start to pay attention more. We think that we always
yeah,
have, because that's because we want to be right, but you start to see that progression with this. And when that happens, it starts to become even more coded and not as like human things happening, like, that kind of stuff, like, because in the beginning you need to recognize it. You need to be like, okay, yes, this is a
yes,
exact thing, right? Like it. But when it starts to get really, like, I'm gonna wait for Janine to get to, because she wanted me to talk about this on the live when she comes up. Janine is
mm-hmm.
also a Patreon member. But it was interesting because I don't mind repeating it a tiny bit, but basically, when I was before I woke up, I woke myself up because I do that sometimes because I just don't want to deal with what's going on because it's sometimes very traumatizing. But it's very interesting. I'm just going to compare so you can kind of see. So basically, I was dreaming about because there's a lot of trafficking, like my energy works on a lot of trafficking stuff, and it's all types, like random stuff that you can't, like things that are not even like human type stuff. It's like it's because obviously humans, the way humans do it, it's like they're doing a version of something that's bigger as well, if that makes sense. But obviously humans do it in a very like clunky way that's like very painful and it's lasting, if that makes sense, whereas the other ones are not really. It's very fleeting. But anyway, so I was having a dream of these. It was very symbolic. It was both surreal and energetic, but also very kind of human ones. I have some things that I've set so that I understand what's going on. I was in this, I'd say, so it's kind of like an estate sale, but no one passed away. It was literally just these, it was like these wealthy, but that's like the symbolism again, wealthy energies that almost had like a left behind because they left to move on, a museum kind of vibe looking like giant place that almost looked like a very very fancy department store. So it doesn't look like very modern. It was like almost like a museum merged with that kind of. And there were all these people that were like helping and taking care of it, and they were having people come off the street and they're like, hey, we have this like estate thing. And so obviously it wasn't the street, but it's just again symbolic. And so it when they were doing that, the people, they were pulling them below. And again, that is also symbolic. And when they pull them below, there's a full on market below there. And when I'm in these situations, I'm many different POVs. And you know how people say they have lucid dreams? When they say lucid dreams, they think that like it's just a human doing things. Mine are lucid from many different perspectives. It's wild, and it feels normal to me because I'm so used to it. But other people would be like, they'd be like, "Oh, I had a weird dream," and they wouldn't know because they would think they're different dreams. So basically, what's happening with me is I'm both one of the people that got put underneath. I'm also a family member of another person who got pulled underneath. And remember, these aren't really people, it's energy stuff. And then when I got down there and I was like a bigger energy that has a bigger perspective that is there to change what's going on, kind of, and move things around. It's all happening at once. And when I got down there, I switched to the family member of one of them. And that family member had snuck down to see what's going on. And they saw their family member without limbs. And it was like this technology where they take pieces of your body and things like that, and in different ways, and they leave them in these weird crates. So there's like this weird like technology I saw. I don't even, and I know how it works and everything, which is so weird. Like that always freaks me out. And so then when I woke up, I was like, I don't want to see this anymore. I was in so much pain seeing that family member like that. And I was like trying to find out what to do. And I was like, I can't do anything because I was a person. And I was trying to get to the bigger perspective because I wasn't all of them. I was just that one at that point. And so I just woke myself up. So when I woke up, I received a message from Janine. And Janine was showing me the KFC ad. And the KFC ad is about humans worshiping this chicken, kind of, and they put a person in this like gravy thing and make them into like chicken, like fried chicken. And everyone, so the intention was to kind of make fun of rituals and laugh and think it's funny and like ha ha ha, like pagan people, haha, whatever. But the people are freaking out in the comments and they're losing customers, and it's very messy. It's been happening since March when they released it. And the interesting part about this is people are pulling up at conspiracies, and they're very American conspiracies, but the company who made it is in England, in London. And I know, knowing that it's a different perspective. So they're doing it to kind of say, hey, you are worshiping stuff. And when you worship anything, you're worshiping everything. Like everyone's worshiping by, it's the thing that I always talk about where you're spending a lot of your attention to the internal, external reality. And for George, who hasn't seen my stuff, I talk about our internal reality, our internal, external reality, and external reality. And in the internal external reality, it's a game of taking up space. So the media will kind of try to fight dirty and take up more space in different ways. And everyone's kind of, it's like a fight of taking up space. And because once it goes through that threshold, that's what the external reality and the rules kind of become. So if people start to pay attention to what they're paying attention to, and they start focusing on themselves and working on themselves at the same time, that will flip. And that's one of the things my energy is like really working on. But anyway, so as you can see, the parallels of the two, because in that weird market, obviously they're doing lots of different things, and there's the rituals and things like that. And we are thinking, like, there's people going, oh, this is a demon thing, there's all these crazy things happening. And actually, it is kind of in the sense that it's a ritual just like all the rituals we do. Basically, any participation in the things that are taking up space, which are rituals and all that stuff, all of it is. So like me right now is a ritual, like, and then people doing that, and I'm taking up a little bit of space. But the difference is I'm not taking it in the way that they're taking it. They're taking it with what's already existing, and that is the problem with right now. Um, it's like murky waters, if that makes sense. It's not like people can't see themselves, whereas mine, I'm expressing from me, so it's from my truth. So people can go and find their truth through my truth, if that makes sense. So if everyone starts flipping and doing this in their own way, that is when people will be inspired, and it won't be taking up space anymore. We'll be all fluid, and the external reality will pulse and be really magical and great. But we're a long way from that. But I'm being the change that I want to see. So you have to start somewhere, right?
That is wild.
But that shows you, that's what they're exactly the same, right? But not. And it's wild because everything about it is connected as well, if you think about it. Like, I'm originally from the US, and it's for the US, but it's like in England that they made it. And then on top of that, when people see this, they think that it's like these weird weirdos doing this stuff, when I know some of the people who were in the team that did it, like, as in, like, were working on it. And then, like, from, like, things, like, it's just wild. And then on top of that, I know that there's also a American marketing team that took the video and got inspired and made merchandise that's like very generic, but to be like, believe. And it's like a true cult thing. Like, they really took it, like, everyone was like inspired by that joke in quotes, that they made to be like already in that little clip. And then they were like, okay, let's just like push that clip further and make it a true cult on the website. So if you go to the KFC website, it says believe, all these things, and they made it into a cult, basically. Like, and it's like and people are like, they have to tell you this so that you can do blah blah blah, but actually that's not what it is. People think that that's the thing. People repeat and parrot over and over and over again, but it's not that. It's not about, people are parroting that over time. They're like, they have to show you stuff. I'm like, what do you mean there's giant teams and different people like doing different things. Like I said, the one in London is doing art and like trying to make a joke about, like, look at us, like, we're always doing rituals, ha ha ha, like, we don't even take it seriously. And then people are like, they saw the way people reacted to it, and they're like, okay, let's push this further, because there's no bad press, right? That's how the Americans are looking at it. And they're like creepy polo shirts with like blood, like, it's just so weird, like, what's going on?
Well, okay, so the thing that, I didn't know any of that. I'm gonna have to look that up later.
Yeah, we can thank Janine when Janine watches this later, because I don't know if she's gonna come on, but yeah. Thank you, Janine, for bringing that up so that we can talk about it.
But okay, so this is what is like coming to mind, and like you mentioned like cults and then like the cult themes that are coming up with this whole KFC thing.
Yeah.
And how it's, impacting how people are reacting to this. And I don't know if you know this. I have this like kind of small obsession with cults. For some reason, like it's like I love like cult documentaries and like
Yeah.
it's kind of connected to I don't know some of my religious upbringing and stuff. Like it's like a special interest for me.
Yeah.
And also I should just say if any of this is like too triggering for anybody, like Trent, I know you've been through stuff. Like we can always like change the subject.
Yeah, Trent, let us know.
Yeah, I don't want I want this to be fun. I don't want us to go into something.
Yeah, because right now I know we are talking about rituals. So if it does, like, if you do you want, because I think rituals is a good thing for Trent, but obviously Trent needs to speak for himself. But I think rituals in society in general is like a good thing for everybody. But I think if it comes to cults, that's when I think we should be careful. So yeah, Trent, you have to let us know about the cult stuff.
Well, you know what? My general question is this because I agree with you. I love ritual. I love ceremony.
Yeah.
And I guess my general question is just like why society is kind of like not good at like stopping cults that like aren't overtly cults. And like by that I mean like for instance like the tech industry I feel like is kind of becoming a cult. Like there's certain pockets of society that like aren't religious but operate in almost like that same fervor.
Yeah.
And like is almost I almost feel like it's becoming more of a thing like politics. I don't, not that I want to go there, but like that, you see what I'm saying? Like
so I wouldn't call them cults because cults are about control. So if something is on purpose controlling, not on accident. So if people are just like going, oh, I need to do this because I'm going to do that, that's about someone's personal opinion. But if the whole point is to control and to take away sovereignty on purpose, and they say it like it's actually said, that is a cult. If they don't say it,
trigger.
Exactly. Okay, we won't say it. But if they don't, if they don't say it, it could be anything. It could just be human nature. What did you say, Trent?
Oh, I was making a joke. I said, "Oh no, I'm triggered."
Oh, okay. We're like, oh no! Don't do that to us.
Like you know how I am. I'm just trying to be mindful. I never like we're having such a good time. That's why I said we can always talk about something else.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we're all having a good time.
Exactly.
I wanted to share real quick. I did go back out to the church that they operate out of.
Okay.
And it is in fact by definition a cult that I came from.
Yeah.
Wow.
They have all the members that are there are from the same family. They travel hundreds of miles to make sure they meet there at the same time every week. It is in the middle of nowhere, and the rules are you can do whatever you want as long as it gives you control over someone else to benefit them.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's taking away sovereignty. And in a sense, it's not just taking sovereignty away, like it's like from themselves, because you focusing on, I was thinking about this the other day as well. It's that it's this domination. This is something I struggle with a lot, and it's something I have to work on all the time. I really don't understand, like my brain will malfunction. Like I'm not made and built to understand when people want to do any kind of dominance, whether it's on accident or on purpose. I really don't understand it. I've never understood it, and I have trauma responses to it, but I also inside don't understand. And so when it comes to, like, for example, war especially, I really don't understand when people do those kind of things, because it's always about that. It's about taking over something. And I don't understand why someone would want to do that always. Like I don't, like I've talked to people that, like I've gotten close to people who I didn't know wanted that, and I still, even being close to them and I asked them questions, I still have I didn't learn anything, because I don't understand what drives them. It has nothing to do with trauma, because that's something else. I just don't understand it, and it's because it's not like a logical thing, because I understand it logically, but I don't understand it in a way that's like sustainable, if that makes sense. I could see someone having a fleeting thought.
It's not.
Huh?
Don't think that it is. I said I can give quite a bit of insight on this. It's
Okay.
not sustainable and it is never
Yeah.
supposed to be. The people that want to wage war, and like I said, the people that I was dealing with that want to control everything,
Yeah.
they know it cannot last forever. But what they can do is systematically create something that can have a lasting effect that favors their opinion. It's
Okay.
not about reality, it's
Yeah.
about their opinion being made reality.
But what I don't understand is on top of that. So there's that. I get that. But what I don't get is why do they want that in the first place? That's what I don't get.
Fear.
No, but even that,
Everything
there,
comes
even
down
if,
to fear, from what I understand.
yeah, but even before that. So that's what I mean. Is like, there's more to it. It's not just there's those are like after effects. Like it's like a kind of like a snowball. And I've seen what you're saying makes sense. But the part I want to know
What
before
starts
that,
the snowball?
huh?
The perspective of what started the snowball, at least for my family,
Yeah.
was World War II kicked off, and they were not given the opportunity to use weapons of mass destruction, at least in the letters that are collected there at the church.
Okay.
They were not given tanks to control the United States population and force more people to
Yeah, but why did they?
their church.
What about before that? Like, why did they want that?
I
Right?
all the only thing I could find to keep all the little records locked up is that it's all just control, but no one knows why they want control.
Yeah, that's what I
They just
mean.
inherently feel like they deserve it.
That's what I mean. Like every other thing that people do, I no problem. Like I get it. Even if I don't like it, I get it. This, there's no, I just can't. No matter what I do, there's no, it's not possible. Like I knew kids that did this, and I would like when I was a child. I remember like I would always want to hang out with like I wanted to hang out with kids, and they would just be either going eh! Like that or trying to take over, and I was like, why? And they never. I just never like. That's a kid. Like and like they had no reason. Like never.
And they would go to great lengths. They would go to great lengths to create triangulation and everything they could to try.
I
and
would
control
stop them,
everybody,
but
even at the playground, even in elementary school. No, I'm saying my reference. Like as a kid, I
Yeah.
noticed like even then people were trying to figure out how to get control, but they did not know why they wanted the control.
yeah. And there's no, and I've asked energies and stuff, and they try and explain. And they're like, they told me, one of my energies told me they're like, you can keep going because like we're not gonna stop you, but like you're literally not built to understand it. I'm like, okay. He's like, you're literally the harmonics. Like, how would you? How would you get that? And I'm like, I know. Like there's like ancient story, like I guess like from our perspective ancient, but like the beginning of creation, there's some stuff that is similar to this, and I don't even get that. I even asked them. I went to them. I'm like, why? And I still don't get it. But yeah. But yeah, I get all the other stuff. I get like the snowballing, I get the, progression because that's human stuff. So I always get like that's fine. But where does that like it's just especially when you know like even people who know kind of like they start to understand they're in a simulation stuff. They're like I know some guys that have been I've seen on TikTok a couple of them when they start to learn about simulation stuff and they don't really know but they kind of know and they start to be like okay well who cares then and like this is garbage and then people say NPCs and they think that people are fake and some are here to serve and I'm like where did that why are you even thinking that way like my first reaction was oh my god that's so cool I can't wait to bring things here like I now that I know that we are the ones that are bringing things here I'm like I can't that's my first I know that is a reflection of my energy but I still don't like I don't get it I don't get it they're like let me just smash this stuff here instead of finding out what I can bring here.
It's only a guess, but I have wondered if it's a survival instinct that kind of got built upon by everybody's own narrative. Like we all have the instinct to keep ourselves safe, but some people cannot control how that instinct influences their thoughts.
If it was survival is natural, but if this is a survival instinct, it would be a distorted one because distortion is the stopping of growth, right? So I think it would be a distorted one. It would be like anti-nature kind of, if that makes sense. Because survival, depending on who's telling this definition, if a human is that doesn't connect with nature is talking about survival, they would be talking about making a living
Controlling
and
others or making something happen.
yeah, exactly. Whereas
At least
nature
that's
would
how it
be
used to
like,
be.
let's make sure that this ecosystem is working and everything is harmonious and, you know, as it should. Otherwise, I'm pulling out. That's what the animals always say. They will pull out. Same with plants. But yeah, they will pull out of the matrix if it's not working because there's no reason, and it's a message as well. It's and you know that's the thing that's funny is we all think it's just about food, and people don't realize that like it's a when they like are getting extinct or leaving, there's a reason. They're like, see ya, it's not working in here. Um, yeah, but no one thinks that. Like it kills me when you see like for example orangutans. They're like little doctors. They know how to do all this like um, stuff, and we just like don't even try to talk to them. Like, can you imagine? Like, what the hell?
Well, I it happens throughout everything, and I think humans have tried to disconnect themselves from the process so much, as in pretend that it doesn't apply to them.
Yeah.
But even with the instance in my family, I have over 100 first cousins on my mom's side.
Oh my God, they were
Only one
busy.
of them is still going to that church.
Oh jeez.
And they're like, well, there's something wrong with our kids. They just don't understand. I'm like, trying my best not to open my mouth and make myself the target in the room, but I'm like, is it the 100+ people that don't understand, or is it the 40 that claim that you can do whatever you want to others
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with it?
Exactly.
Like, that's immediate cause and effect.
Yeah, the decision of their POV is wild. Oh no, I had some flashes of that dream. Ew. Every time that happens,
Sorry.
I'm like, oh my God, it's still happening. Oh.
How do you, for you and Camille both, how do you better remember your dreams? I get rapid fire, just like when we tried to do it before, when I end up hyper focusing on how something is made in my dreams, I get a lot of information rapid fire to the point where I can't actually consume it.
Yeah. So in this case, I wouldn't. I know it's funny that I'm saying this, but in this case, I wouldn't say remember, or memory. I would actually, because that's not actually what is happening there. Because it's very rare that we are remembering, because a lot of the time we're just it's like a part of our life experience, if that makes sense. And so it's more about understanding how you have dreams because everyone's different. And so that's why when people do dream work and they talk about symbols and stuff like that, that would I would put that under psychology because the way that people are doing that, even if it's indigenous, is based on society. So there's symbols that are comfortable in society and that will help you understand society. It's not going to help you understand uniquely you because anything that is from a group of stuff. So I would say learning about not only your energy style in general, but also learning about how you have dreams, why you have those dreams. And also, the more you connect with yourself, just like everything, the more you deeper you go, the deeper you not only understand others, but you also understand what your energy is up to. And when you start to understand that and you start to explore more of it and like how Camille is noticing things, what happens is your energies start to make sure that you get to interact with both. And they start to kind of become one instead of it being like, oh, I'm going to go dream. Instead, you kind of make your internal reality become merged with it. And that's kind of what happens, even if you don't even have to try. And so you start to participate in the dreams. And when you start to participate in the dreams, that is like when you get to have like all those experiences. Um, because what happens is, why would you remember stuff that you don't even know what the context is, right? So like it's not, it will be just flashes and weird stuff. But if you understand your language, your energy language, and what you're up to and what you'd like to participate in, that's when you start to experience it. And then therefore memory. So memory is actually just your information. So like how, like for example, when people don't think that they can talk to energies or versions of themselves and they don't know how to do that, it's because they think they don't know that they can, if that makes sense. So it's the same thing with dreams. Because we don't think that the dreams are us, we think it's other, like just because everything's outside in when we're awake, we think everything's outside, but it's not really, right? So it is like literally ourselves. Right, it's all the part, like, so we know when I talk about the within, so here's a big energy for as an example. Let's say it is, we're just going to pick light. So light is that big energy, and then there's all these different energies inside. It could be this person, this, it could be this and this, and all these bigger ones in it too. There's all kinds of things going on, right? And let's say when you're sleeping, your energy needs to be in all of it. So you're going to be all of light. So that perspective is going to be like so random. And it's like, it's to maybe benefit something you're working on in your life. It's a question you had. And so when you have these like intuition nudges, some of them have to do with those experiences so that they're not as shocking. So that's what I mean by it's not about remembering, is that you do experience them because it's still the same. Like we think it's different, but it's the same. So you're like, I get like, you're like continuing it, but you're not really continuing it. It's like it never ended, if that makes sense. It never really changed. It's just that you get the option to see things and experience them differently depending on how you're growing as a person and what you know and what you like and all those things. So let's say you had a dream last night and you have no idea what happened, or it's all weird and like tons of images and you don't know what's happening. It doesn't mean that you didn't remember. It means that that dream was for whatever, like whatever you experienced when you were in that POV and brought your ego, or if it's just like later or memory information, you might just be experiencing it in your body. It might have been like that was just so that your body has a certain like setup now so that you could do blah blah blah. Does that make sense? So people who think they're not remembering their dreams, everyone does. It's just that um you're transforming, and your experience of what you did might not be a like a little movie or a thing that you're like hanging out with. Does that make sense? And it doesn't mean that it's always like that. It just means that that's the stuff you need right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you.
Uh-oh, it's getting crunchy. I can't hear you very well.
At the same time. How about better?
No, not yet.
I was going.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. The dreams themselves change, but the format has stayed the same.
Yeah.
Everyone is speaking at the same time, but the one thing that comes out is everyone saying you should buy this.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going, why is everyone trying to sell me something? And I can understand that part, but I cannot recall the fine details of what everybody's saying. I can't differentiate between the noise. And so I know that has to be something to do within myself. There's something I'm not sorting out, that I have not been able to sort out yet.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so that's what I'm saying. So you know when people when people talk about, they're like, oh, I have, you've been on here on the live, when they say, oh, I have aphantasia, I can't visualize things. That's because whatever they're going to experience at the moment, they don't need to experience it that way. So that's kind of what's going on with dreams. When people, oh, I can't remember my dreams, and they think it's a problem, but you can remember. You're just remembering probably with your body or in a different way, because that is what's happening in your life right now. Okay, wait 1 second. So, Brubno, if you want, you can come up here and we can chat. Do you want to come up here?
Also, Nicole, I don't know how you do these lives so like eloquently. I've gone live twice, and oh my gosh, so overstimulated. So just kudos to you for like being able to
Thank you.
wrangle.
It is
Oh my
intense.
God.
I have I have to do a lot of energy work, and I also have to make sure that yeah, like boundary things are a must, and I use it as a challenge to work on my boundaries as well, because I went from zero to so it is a very I agree, it is a challenge, and thank you for seeing me.
Yeah, no, well, last night I tried doing like Oracle stuff, and man, it's like, seeing the people coming in and out, and then like, the questions are coming rapid fire, and they're all relationship questions, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I want to do this again.
Yeah, I mean,
It
the
was a
thing is
lot,
I
so
just I you could turn it around and tell them about like how to do it, the relationship stuff.
and it's funny. It's
That's what I do.
so kind of going back to when I was on live the last time and talking about purpose and stuff like that. So the thing that I've been about, lately is just like, okay, what do I feel like doing in this moment? And anytime I have an experience and I'm like, didn't like that, I ask myself, I'm like, okay, well, what experience would I rather have? And then I'm just like, I'm gonna just see, what the next thing is like. So
Yeah.
even though I didn't love that experience, but I'm like loving watching you, like, talk to people, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It is motivating for me to just be like, okay, well, try something else, see what you like, maybe try it differently, maybe do something else, maybe go into the forest and scream, like do
Yeah.
anything, just do something
Well,
you like,
if you want, we could always do like in the future when you feel like it's like time. If you want, we could do like a collab one where we can just like do it together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So like if you wanted to, like when you feel ready for that, like try it out a few times. And then it would just be us both being the ones that answer like what we can come up with like a thing to do. But yeah, like it would be a theme or something. But yeah, I would practice. But when you're ready, I think if you want, we can do that, and that can be fun too.
Yeah. I think that could be fun. I definitely need to practice a few more times.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever you're ready, and you like have an idea, we can do it.
Oh, Trent, that would be awesome if you wanted to like be in the crowd and be supportive. Because man, having like complete strangers,
Hey, no problem. I can.
that would be so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll like if when we do it, we can plan and stuff when to do it.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, let me use my skills to benefit you in the way that I know how. People are going to get hateful and mouthy. Don't worry about it. Let me handle them in the comments. I have had to deal with so many difficult personalities all my life. I got this.
All right.
Untied and biting their own butt.
Bouncer enforcer.
Spiritual bouncer,
I
Trent.
will kill them with kindness. They have no choice.
I think Brew, no, I can't say your name, sorry. I'm just gonna call you Brew for a bit. Are you having difficulties? If you come, I could let you in, but I don't see you in the little guest thing. Yeah. Oh well, I think maybe you're trying to fix it. If anyone else wants to, while they're like figuring out, if anyone else wants to come up, the way to do it is up here. You just type in your topic, and I'll let you know if it's like a good live topic or question, and then you can come on up, and then you can probably ask more too. But I think that they're trying to. They have basically. I did a live with someone about. There was a creator on here, who was. It's funny because this always happens to me. For people who are on my Patreon on the tier 3, when energies are coming to give me my little keys and stuff like that, they sometimes come. They come and start talking, and it's very intense and overwhelming, and then they come as a form of a person, and sometimes it's like before I thought it was like I had to do it, and I got into like really weird situations. It was even this person like that. I don't want to say that the energies are using me, but they kind of are, because if they see one of their humans that are um, available to me, if that makes sense. So there's this weird, like, it wasn't this guy, it wasn't the guy that that I'm talking about. There's this guy that was saying he's God and things like this, and he never, like, I knew him for already like a few years, like his thing, but he wasn't saying that at first. He was very into like coding and things like that. And he said that he could like make people have awakenings and things like, it's that kind of like weird stuff. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna go through this and listen to him. Maybe he's gonna help with blah blah blah. And the energy was Kronos, and Kronos is cool, but this human one was not. And so I went in, and it ended up being like a baby cult, and he was telling people that they can even look at people in the eyes, because if they did, energies are going to, or he didn't say energies, he said entities are going to jump in your eyes, and even he's the only one that can take them, and blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my god. uh, and Kronos was like, do you see why? And I'm like, yeah, but there's nothing I can do. Like, he's like, you just sitting there and anchoring it is good. And I'm like, okay, that's still, I don't feel comfortable with that. You just, okay, I did it, bye. So I left, and I told him I was mad at that energy, and I said, we're not going to talk for a while. Like, we'll get back to this, because I do want to hear what you have for me to remember and things like that, but we're not talking. And so it was very recent that I actually talked to him again. And he did have really cool information, but I was not happy about that. But anyway, so this guy that this other person is talking about was cute, and it was it was actually really nice, because that memory was very traumatic. It's a traumatic memory kind of energies and stuff, and it's very it was nice. It was nice to see someone like a human, but like he doesn't know who he is, so that was weird as well. But but anyway, that live was about, like, he was like talking about vampires and things like that, and he said a few things about one of my memories and stories, but like in a very coded book way, if that makes sense, like what people write about in books, like in spirituality. And so I was like, oh, let's like talk about this. So we did a live, like, randomly, like right after talking, and started, he was talking about what he's reading in a book, but him as a person was really like, he knew a lot of stuff on his own, but the way he's talking, it wasn't like what he thinks about stuff, it was more like what he wanted to share to help people understand. So the way he was talking was kind of like a for dummies, if that makes, not for dummies, but like it's it's like, I don't know how to, like, because I was very surprised. I was like, whoa, like, you know all this stuff, why are you not saying it? I think he's a bit worried that people are not going to get him or something like that, and I get that. I went through that, but I was a bit sad. And he was saying, like, the whole time on the live, he's like, I don't know if anybody's going to get this, when I was talking, and I'm like, okay, but that's the whole point of the live, right? I was So the person who just came in, I don't know if they're still here, they were saying, I really liked what, like, I was really interesting in what you were saying and things like that, which is funny because they found me, but I don't know where they are now, so we'll wait until they're back.
Is there information about the vampires on the Patreon? Is any of that up there?
Oh, okay. Oh, they're trying to request. Okay. Wait, what was that? Sorry.
Yeah, just asking if the vampire stuff, is there any information like that on the Patreon? Because I'm trying to figure out what the next thing I want to watch is.
I think I touch on it in a lot of different things, but I haven't done it officially. I'm gonna have a look. I think there might be. I do tag things. I think I did, but they're like all over the place. So do a search. Yeah. So the best way to look at stuff is the collections and searching. Yeah. Because I did tag on purpose, because I know I'm gonna just keep filling. But yeah, I do touch on it. But later when we have a session, I can tell you like the origin and things like that and what's going on with that, because I'm not going to tell you we're going to like go there because going there is the only way. And you've probably already been there because, yeah.
I only
But
gotta
yeah.
ask, what was the cost of the Patreon?
The first tier is £10, so I think dollars wise that's either 11 or 12, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot on there.
And there's like
Wow.
tons, and I'm still adding to it.
Oh, I said I got beat out for the job. Unfortunately, somebody double the experience got it. That's
Oh.
a big worry,
But maybe
I,
it wasn't for you,
no,
so
it's
you're
no
gonna
big
find
deal.
something better.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Just making sure that I have a idea to budget off of, and also
Yeah.
you give an excellent service, but your advertisement is poor, and I don't mean that as a hateful way. You say where to go, but you don't tell people how much it costs, and if you don't list the price, subconsciously people don't check.
I know. I just
Like,
the thing for me is I'm not like I'm not like that, and I had so many problems with when I was in fashion and things like that. So for me, I'm just taking it easy, and if someone wants to help me with that, I would love that. But I personally, I know that I'm not gonna do that because I've even tried. I did it. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I did it, and it was a catastrophe, and it didn't work. And so I talked to my energies about it, and they're like, yeah, you're not supposed to deal with that. So if it happens, it happens. So for me, I'm like, I agree with you, and I actually respect how people can do that, but I can't. So I just go by like I know this sounds funny, but I'm literally channeling even that when I say it. Like there's literally an energy saying like, "Oh, tell them this." And so like it's like a version of me that's like, "Tell them this. This is what this is like not pushing them, but it's telling them what they need to know." So that's what I do, but I do agree with you. Yeah, human world, I don't know, and I can't. Like they won't let me. Like I wish. But yeah, if someone can help me with that, sure, I wouldn't mind. Like if you want.
say, I actually went to school for that because I could never figure out how people exist as far as commerce.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It made no sense at all. So a bunch of colleges like to hold free classes, and as I traveled, I jumped into ones and write down, fill notebooks with whatever I could, and realized that all commerce is suggestive. That's all it is. It's all just suggestive. It's suggesting something enough times in a certain way that certain people receive it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's psychology.
Will throw it in your face, or
yeah.
But I feel like that's a way to manipulate somebody, so I feel guilty doing it.
But that's
so
what I mean. Is that's what I'm getting at. Is it's like it's a choice, and I feel like because my choice is not to do it, and then I'm like, oh, I have to do this, and then I do it. It's not only is it not authentic, but it's also like it just doesn't work. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that like to do it, so it's fine. But I don't like it, so it shows, and like it's worse than me not doing it. If that makes sense. It's really embarrassing.
Everyone's gonna be different with it, but the only way for selling something that worked for me is being as transparent with it as possible.
Yeah.
I tell people like, if I'm selling something they're pre-owned, I'm like, here's all the defects, here's every single accident that's ever happened with it, here's a little scratch from this. It'll still do its job. Have to be completely transparent. Compare with the price, and then I can do it. Otherwise,
yeah, I agree with that, but still, even then, because the thing is, what I'm doing is about people empowering themselves. So it's kind of gross for me to be like, you need to do this now, because it's not up to me, right? What it's up to me is when someone comes to me. And that's another thing, is that it does have the vibes of the mother that I was. So like the mother role, where everyone was coming for me to fix everything and do everything possible, and just everything. They would give me like poop, like and they weren't even ready and they didn't want it, and they're just like, ah, and like that. And now I've done a lot of energy work so that people will come that are ready for they want that, like they're ready and they want it. So like, for example, you, like, if you can't do something or you don't want it, I wouldn't keep saying that to tell you that. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, oh, it's this and this and this. It's only this. I wouldn't do that because it defeats the purpose of what my intention is. So that's why I get it, and that I get that, but do you see what I mean?
Yes, and
Because that's not what I want.
Like
I want people who want
don't
it.
catch on to this quickly.
Yeah.
And your approach works very well for me because,
See?
of course, a lot of stuff going on in life. I can't have any more forced down my throat than what I've already
Exactly.
dealt with.
And that's what I want. So that for you saying that shows you that. There you go. That's why. So that if someone does it, like if someone, like for example, Janine has been with me since the beginning. She sometimes says, Nicole is amazing, and this is how the sessions go, and sessions are like this, and it's like, you know, you can do this and that stuff. Like that makes more sense, right? That's someone who on their own decided to just say stuff. Like that's great advertisement, right? But me saying it is weird, right? It's just, it doesn't make sense for my intentions. And like, I want this to be a safe place where people are like, oh yeah, I'm in my power. I don't want people to be like, oh shit, I can't go in on the live because I haven't done this, this, and this. Do you know what I mean? But then I also do want the respect. So then the respect would be the people who want to do this, because people are not going to respect me and love what we're doing here if they don't want to do it. And they're still like out, you know, out of it with what they want. But if people want to do this, they're going to be respectful because it's like, it's their dreams, right? Like that's what they want. Like you guys show that, right? So that's how it feels to me, is that I want people that are coming here because this is their dream. Like it's making their life feel like livable and amazing and great. You know what I mean? Like I don't want people coming here because they're like, oh, this girl is the one that has the answers and I want to go to her because I'm like stupid without her. I don't want that. So like that's what would happen, I think, if I did that approach. And so that's also why, but anyway, that's just my thing. But I am aware that like I only have a few followers. I'm aware of those things. But that's because it's the Matrix stuff.
Want to do it for fun, we can just go ahead and go complete overboard. We'll get you a headdress, get you like full garments going on, get the fan blowing, make it a great big scene, and then everybody shows up expecting something else, and it's just chill and relaxed.
Like, I have, if you go back to my old videos, I have worn my headpieces. I used to make headpieces, so I have worn them. I could put one on now. Here, I'm gonna get one.
Oh, sweet.
I have a little like starry crown that I like to wear sometimes, but I don't always wear it because like I don't know.
But it doesn't.
Like too much sometimes.
But by the way, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, I'm wearing a swan on the top of my head. It doesn't make a difference. I used to wear headpieces every day, like, and people were like, "What's going on?" But yeah, see.
How heavy is that?
Not heavy. It's all little velvet flowers. But yeah, it's, yeah, I can see.
I love wearable art. I love that. I love that.
I have way more. So we could, if you want, you could be like, oh, Nicole, it's fashion show time, and I could show you all of them. And I also have, these are all necklaces I've made.
Oh.
But yeah.
Let's just like make an art collective somewhere. That's
I mean, that's kind of what I want, so.
yeah.
I'm just laughing because the stuff I collect is like arrowheads, pottery, and old pieces of steel from like early settlements. So
Ruby would love you.
If I start wearing it, just remind me to get my tetanus shot.
My friend Ruby, she goes to the shore, the foreshore, which is the river of London, and she gets all the little old, like 1700s, sometimes old Roman things that are in the stuff. So you guys would love chatting about your finds.
If you aren't, like, if that's not something you want to use in anything like that, it's okay. I'll bug Camille and we'll go ahead and do it, like, this style.
I mean, listen, I can.
I'm gonna put. Does this help? I'm gonna put deodorant on the line. I'm so authentic. I'm putting deodorant on.
I love it. But no, I probably could use some marketing help too. I mean, I don't know. It's a whole thing. Everything that you said, Nicole, I completely.
Yeah. So for me, if people do stuff for me, like randomly, I'm not gonna be like, no. I'll be like, sure, but I'm not doing anything. I don't want advice or anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm in that era. Like I worked really hard to get like in this space where like I can see that my energy work is working, and it's like everything matches, like the energies are matching. Because to me it was really hurtful because it wasn't matching the people. Like the people weren't matching, I wasn't matching, and it's like unfortunate because that's all I want to do is to match and you know flow. And so like it was really hard when it wasn't like I didn't know like about that. I was like but yeah. But like I said, I agree. When it comes to human structures, it doesn't count. But I am breaking it, so oh well. I'm breaking those human structures with this. So
I do like to come back here just to give examples for people who are listening, because since I've started process trying to better understand myself, how to keep my energy for myself instead of just constantly outpouring for everyone and
exactly
things of that nature, I've noticed real changes, including people from my past I haven't spoken to in a decade or more coming up and saying, well, this group approached me and asked me to join them. This group approached me and asked me to join them. Would that be a good thing? And I'm just, confused, one, just because we haven't talked in a decade. Why are you asking me this?
yeah.
Oh, well, moving on from it. But a lot more people are wanting to ask very specific questions that are not so much outcome based.
Yeah.
They're wanting to know what the experience would be.
Yeah.
What would it turn for them? And
yeah.
I was like, well, I can finally am in a position where I can start to answer those. I'm not going to get them right every single time. I'm not going to know every bit of it. And I tell them that. So it's going to be different for everyone.
Yeah, always. And that's the beauty of it.
The story, it's a man-made group. It's there for control. You
Yeah.
have to decide, do you want to be controlled by them? Because there's going to be sets and rules no matter what. And are you willing to abide by that?
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what's funny? I would just panic and be like, I have no idea. Shut down, move on, focus on my crap.
Yeah.
Now I can finally sit back and gain perspective.
Yeah, exactly. There's been some people talking I didn't say. Someone said I'm their twin. They said, hello, twin. I don't know what type of twin we are, but... Oh, Peak Live,
No
thank
pictures
you.
of proof.
I'm like, what kind of twin are we? Oh, did you have any luck trying to request? Broom Boo? It's weird because I feel like I saw it when I clicked and then it disappeared, so maybe something weird's going on there. Camille, did you have more questions?
I had one other question that actually I was waiting to see if Brunvo or whatever his name was going to come up because I didn't want to derail the vampire question, but it actually reminded me, the vampire thing reminded me. I was in New Orleans last year, I want to say, for a business trip. And I travel a lot, or occasionally, like maybe 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
And for some reason, New Orleans, like I have never felt so alive in a city. Like the energy there, I felt like just so myself. Like people were like stopping me on the street and telling me I'm beautiful. Like I just felt like it just melded with me so much, like more so than almost any other place I've ever been. And I was only there for like 5 or 6 days. And I'm like, I've been trying to figure out, like, thinking back on that, like the vampire thing reminded me that because people live like vampires in New Orleans. Just like what it is about that place that like makes me light up so much inside.
So each, what's interesting is people pretend like they understand nature and they go, okay, I'm gonna go out in nature, and this is just like typical spiritual people. They're like, go out in nature and do this and this, as if it's just like a weird thing to do and you have to do it, like brushing your teeth or something like that. It's like that's the kind of thing they think of, and they don't realize why they're doing that and those things. And so when you think that way, then you start to be judgmental of cities, and then you miss out on what cities do. And so the difference between the two is that a city is kind of like what nature does outside, like wild nature, but instead it's with human systems, so thought forms. And this actually, Camille, is one of the thought form videos that I'm going to do. But that is basically one of the things, because people just are sleeping on thought forms. And so when we have thought forms all the time that are happening, they get stitched together, and people make art and they make things and all these stuff, and that is what I call organized thought forms. So you're a tiny bit more conscious of your thought forms, and this is what people call creative people or creativity, which is silly because everyone is, but it is a thing that has happened. I think it got popular as a thing to say in pop culture in the US in like the early 90s. Kind of people are like, oh, I'm a creative person, I'm creative, I'm creative, as if like that there's a left brain and a right brain, and that's just like not true. Everyone is creating and creative all the time. But the difference between that and what they're saying as creative is people are on accident on top of their thought forms. And so there is a reading I did, which is the Toolkit readings for Janine, and we were talking about Shakespeare in the reading. And basically, you guys can go watch it if you want to have a look at that. But basically, when people are like this, they are like percentages of conscious, and if they're really conscious, like they're very close to being pretty conscious, their stitching that they put together, it's not going to be very much about their everyday life. It's going to be more about that bigger energy that they're stitching together, like from their memories. And so, for example, Shakespeare, a lot of his writings are, he's very close. He's not conscious in the way that he knows that it's this, but what he's pulling in all those stories, the reason why they're just like generic stories that people are like, okay, well, yeah, but what he pulled into them to make them special and like still valid today is the stories of his energetic creative, like what do you call it, the creation story family members, like energetically, and what they're up to. And you can learn a lot, like anyone who is very connected to the creation story, which I am. It's very easy, like Janine is and I am, it's very easy for us to learn about ourselves through Shakespeare's stories, even if it's not the plot, it's what he puts together, right? And so when you have places that are putting together those stories, you're gonna come alive and people are gonna see you, even if they're like, so even if like I talk about how you deeply you know yourself, you see others, this goes out the window in a city. So if that city has all that stuff, like I'm telling you, when I've been going on those day trips, when I went to all those places, the way people are looking at me, the way that I feel, it's just, I'm on fire. And it's because what people have pulled together there, those thought forms are all like around there. And a lot of, so we know when I talk about the freelance aliens, so freelance aliens and gods and all the different energies that are, like basically they collect them, they put them together. So there's even the ones that they're all architects basically. So the other type are the ones that are in the matrix, are of the matrix, and those are, some of them are archons, and that's why people are scared of archons, because they see it and they're like, oh my god, they're holding all the energy, but they're not. They are like in charge of moving that the matrix around as according to our thought forms. So this is why I say it's incredibly important for us to pay attention to our internal external realities, which are media, what you're watching on here, reading books, what you're obsessing over, anything that's two people or more in the human systems. What you pay attention to and think about, those are getting collected and making the external reality. So when you're going to somewhere like New Orleans, it's not that it's New Orleans, it's that a lot of that stuff there is like overflowing with your stories. So you get to not only learn about it just by like going like in your own living room, but when you're there, you're like breathing and eating like all of your memories basically, and other people can see it too. Everyone can.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in when I went to Greece, it was intense. It was intense for me, like both ways. I was just like,
Yeah.
it got so intense that it was a storm there. There was, and so we were looking at all these beautiful buildings in a storm. It was crazy.
Wow.
Like literally breaking the matrix.
That sounds very ethereal. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad I asked because
Yeah. And were your ears
like,
ringing
like I
as
said,
well?
oh, everything. I mean, like
You know the
those
do you
people
have
talk about-
the cicadas like the like that?
I'll get like kind of like a high pitched
Yeah.
tone sometimes, like
Yeah.
a really high pitched. Like
When you're in a
tone.
place and it's constantly doing that, it means you're close to that. Like you're close to a lot of your stuff. So, for example, my room, because I've been doing so much energy work in this room, it's like constantly like.
Yeah. But yeah, the room where my altar is like that. And
Exactly.
The room that I do like client work, like it'll have like it just sounds like
Yeah, you're hearing your energy.
Yeah, like,
that's what it is.
all the time. Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
cute.
exactly.
That's what that is. So you would feel it, you would hear it, you experience it, and the more that you're paying attention, the more you experience it, right? But that includes other people. So if you're there, it's like there's no way that they cannot know you, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
And there's more to cities as well. There are little pockets of things that happen in the areas, and there's this area I call the chaos area, and when you go to it and you walk in that area, it's very intense. But you literally, when you're talking in your head, like if anybody had any issues, this area would be easy for anyone to just start speaking to energies because it's so clear. It's like they're sitting next to you, and like I remember like I would go with a friend that was like, oh yeah, I can't do this, like blah blah. I'm like, let's go. And as soon as we're in there, they were like, oh my god. And a lot of funny things happened because it was in that time when I found out about that. I found this version. I slipped into this. So like when we get downloads, but your keys, right? They're basically your keys and stuff, your information, and codes and stuff like that. I intercepted one, and I saw it like through the version of me that was about to like decode it and put it in and stuff like that. And I was like, what's going on? Because the way that they were talking, like the conversation was like, I thought they were talking to me. And it was so clear. And then I was like, oh. And then they didn't know because you in that time, remember when I had to keep telling them, I'm like, I'm a human right now. And so I wasn't telling them that. And I was like, oh, and they were just like talking to me. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, oh no. But that's how clear it is. It's just so pure like movement and like that you can like do whatever. So that's what happens is that consolidation of humans can basically, like if you think about it, there's so many thought forms that are in this style of like lots of things happening at once and cultures and things like that, that in that area, all those thought forms, you can like go through all the thought forms and like use them as little telephones. So it like enhances. And so even if you know what you're doing, you can pull in some of those thought forms and it can go like, and talk to the blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's fun. So yeah, there's creepy things that we about cities, obviously, but there's also lots of amazing things too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love the way that you put that, and I'm looking forward to the more videos on thought forms because I do want to.
Yeah, it's a big series, so it's gonna be a lot because it's just people are sleeping on it. It's like
there's so much to it, I know, but yeah, I have to run.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Oh, let's see what time.
6 hours.
Oh yeah, I have 10 more minutes. I'm gonna go in 10 minutes.
God.
So.
All right. Well, good to see you, Trent. Glad that we reconnected on your new handle. And have a good night, everybody.
Oh, bye. Bye, Camille.
Bye.
You as well.
Does anyone want to join
if you don't
Trent
mind
and
talking
I?
about it.
Huh? What?
Said I did have one quick question.
Oh, you do? Okay.
How did you better differentiate, like, between spiritual and what I guess people refer to as 3D?
Okay, so that's the finite and
Because
infinite. Yeah. Go ahead.
I often have moments where I feel like, well, I can't say I feel. I almost know, just like a gut knowing, that the energy somewhere is not well, not a good place to be, without any physical evidence to me. And I've gotten to the point where I step back a lot more and try to sit back and go, is this from me noticing patterns that reoccur?
Yeah.
Or is this from something trying to tell me it's wrong? And I've gotten it down to now where I can say, yeah, this is not anything from my wheelhouse. I should not have anything to pull from to know anything about this area.
Yeah.
Go in, try to keep an open mind, see how things go. Ends up being awful, terrible. Just not something that I enjoy.
Okay. So there's two things here. So one is when you're having that situation and that happens, that is basically that's you sensing that whatever that is not a good energy match for you. And when something's not a good energy match for you, it's so many different things. And it's sometimes it's our business to find out what it is, and sometimes it's not. It's just, okay, this is not for me. I need to move on. So that's one thing. The other thing is the difference between finite and infinite. And we talked about this on the other live, like I think it was yesterday. So it's and I talk about it a lot, and I don't mind repeating it because it's important for everyone because it helps our lives. So finite thinking is a end result, a judgment, a beginning, or an end. So it doesn't mean that those things are bad or good. It's just that is a way of thinking in finite thinking. So there's an end, right? And there's a desired outcome. And when we're not doing that and we're exploring our infinity or learning more about our infinity, then it's going to be a situation where there's no end and there's no linear aspect to it whatsoever. So let's say you feel really excited about something, and you, like, let's say you're excited about ancient Egypt and you're like, I have no idea why I'm excited by this. That would be something to not, if you don't know why you're excited and there's nothing you can do, it would be an infinite situation of thought process. So you would be like, okay, what tools do I have that are infinite, that help me explore and set myself free to explore that, right? And let's say you're like, I feel scared of ancient Egypt. You can look at why you feel scared. And when you feel scared, it's actually finite thinking, or like actually scared, not just bad vibes, but scared. So if you're like, I'm so scared of this, that's finite thinking because it's telling yourself that there's only, like, it's okay to have that tiny information and just be afraid instead of being like, oh, I don't have any information actually, and I can either trust that I'm afraid in quotes because I don't have the information, or I can do something about finding out what that is, and I'm gonna like do blah 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 blah. But that would be finite thinking. It would be finite tools and, very like therapy kind of things and stuff like that. But infinite would be that other stuff. So those types of thinking are for thinking and doing, right? And when it comes to having bad vibes and vibe detectors, it's not that the thing is bad or evil or it's bad things are going to happen. It means that it's not a good energy match for you at that moment. You're human and bigger energy. So like, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything. Like, it could be, and it's not our business. It's our decision. It's our decision to go through those. Is it finite thinking or infinite? And then if we want to do something from the finite or the infinite. But the first initial feeling, that is your intuition saying, this is not a good match. And then you're like, do I want to know more about why this is a good match, or should I leave? That's the decision you need to make. And then when you make the decision to stay and figure it out, it means it's a thought process, and you need to find out if that thought process is finite or infinite. And then after the finite infinite, then you actually make an action within the finite or infinite. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, I got myself so muddied up on it trying to think about it, what it would mean to me,
Yeah.
and I
And
ended
you
up
don't have to.
crossing a little bit, as I ended up mixing a little bit, and
Yeah, that's what we
kind of
do.
let myself drink.
Yeah. So that's what you need to work on. And it's okay to not do anything. It's okay to be like, I need to go because this is not an energy match for me. That's okay. It's okay to do that. And if it involves another person, you can find ways to say that, oh, you know what? Oh, I have to pick up my kid. Or, oh, you know what? I have to, oh, I have something like I was cooking and I forgot about it or I didn't, blah, blah. You can do anything you want to do. And that's a boundary, by the way. That's you going, okay, I feel uncomfortable. This is not a good match, whatever this is. And if it's not a thing where you can just run away and you need to talk to a person, you can find ways to get out of it, like very easy ways, but you need to know that that's what you want. You want to do this in your life before trying that out, because otherwise it can be scary, I guess. I've had situations where I'm like, oh shoot, what do I do now? I don't want to do this, but yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the big things I am trying to address, because too much preconditioning causes thought processes that do not need to stick around.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what you need to do, is you need to find out when the time is right to do that or not, because it's okay to let go. And it's very hard coming from um, most of our cultures. It's very hard to do that because we think, oh, we're just like running away or chickening out, whatever. No, we're not. We are aware that this is not a good match, and it's going to help whatever that scenario is, not just us. Because like it's just, that's how it works. Because if you can't literally do something, why would you put yourself in that position, right?
Yeah.
So it's, if you can't do anything, then like you need to run. Like that's it, because there's no point. Like why would you do that, right?
Put yourself down in total lockdown.
Yeah, like because otherwise when you do that, like I've, you know, the things that I've put the situations I put myself in because of that. Why? And it also didn't benefit others as well. The other people had issues too. So I'm like, why did I do that?
Let's see if anybody else wants to ask a question.
Let's see. Oh, Nicholas says, hello, I'm confused. What's the topic? The topic is what you ask. So that's what it is. You're confused because you think that I'm going to tell you a topic. You ask the topics. You create the topics and the questions. And I will help you so that you can find out more about those things later even. So that's my thing. And also there's stuff up here too that might help you. Is there anyone else that wants to hop up here before I go? We have, let's see, 2 more. We can do 3 more minutes. If someone comes up, we'll finish the conversation of whatever someone comes up with, but we're almost done. So
yeah, I was gonna say I got a few more minutes myself until the oven's ready, and
there you go. See, the oven.
Try and see if I know how to make raisin bread.
See, the oven is helpful.
We'll see how that is.
You'd be like, okay, my oven is almost. See?
But no, I'm hoping that I can learn how to make raisin bread.
Oh,
this
fun.
is the first 2 loaves. We'll see how it goes.
Raisin bread sounds good. Okay, no one?
Vanilla and bananas.
I think there's one other person in here. Because it says, I mean, I never know. That's like usually not accurate. There's some people that are like, I'm here. And I'm like, what? Going once, going twice. We only have a few minutes.
Sunrise in here, and that's it.
Okay. Sunrise, do you have a question?
And that's my cue. Oven's ready. I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna have to hop off here.
I think it's time to go. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye.